In less than half a year, James Gunn's newest superhero movie, The Suicide Squad, will be out, and we now have a whole lot of new info on the DC blockbuster to share with you. According to the official synopsis, part of the action takes place in Belle Reve, the prison with the highest mortality rate in the US. To escape from it all, many supervillains join Task Force X, including Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Captain Boomerang, Ratcatcher, King Shark, Blackguard, Javelin, and, of course, Harley Quinn. They must then not only make their way through rough terrain and a secluded island, but they must defeat the enemy guerrilla forces as well. In the merciless fight for survival, the rule "any mistake is lethal" applies, and as Gunn has already emphasized many times in the past, he does not hesitate to give his characters early on-screen deaths. On Twitter, the director is also heating up the anticipation for Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, as the 54-year-old is looking forward to her entrance the most. In a few days, the shooting will be done, and there will be more news to be excited about soon, since there will be some unexpected appearances, and Gunn assured us that the long-awaited trailer will be released before May. The US release date of The Suicide Squad will then be on August 6, 2021. Shortly before the end of production on Mission Impossible 7, Deadline reports that the long-term planned project of shooting Part 7 and Part 8 simultaneously has now been scrapped. One reason for this is Tom Cruise's long-announced promo tour for the follow-up to the cult film Top Gun, which is scheduled for US release on July 2nd this year. The plan is to continue with Mission Impossible 8 shortly after the release of Top Gun Maverick. Further causes the more difficult filming conditions due to the pandemic, as was already seen in the filming of Mission Impossible 7, which was repeatedly interrupted. Behind the scenes, however, nothing changes, so Christopher McQuarrie will of course also take over the direction of Mission Impossible 8. The release dates of the two movies have not changed as of yet. Part 7 will still be released on November 19th, 2021, while the sequel will be released 1 year later on November 4th, 2022. Well over a decade ago, producer and director Oren Peli released the first part of the now world-famous horror series Paranormal Activity. What made it special? His surprise had grossed a staggering $193 million on a mere $15,000 budget. After several sequels and a spin-off, it's now time for a new one, and media reports confirm that the entire Paranormal Activity brand is to be renewed for theaters. Rumors have been circulating for some time that the new part was imminent, but the fact that the entire franchise is being revamped and started from scratch was not apparent until now. Concrete details about the content are still scarce at this point, but it's more than likely that we'll see a return of the old tried and true found footage material. Underwater director Will Eubank is expected to be in the director's chair, while Happy Death Day director Christopher Landon will be in charge of the film script. Behind the scenes, Paranormal Activity will get support from horror producer Jason Blum alongside the creator of the first part, Oren Peli. The US release of Paranormal Activity is so far scheduled for March 4th, 2022. Originally, a third film about the popular children's book character Paddington Bear was supposed to be released at the end of last year. As so often happens behind the scenes, however, they could not bring themselves to begin production, and so the project was put on hold for an indefinite period of time. As Variety now reports, though, those responsible at Studio Canal have finally given the green light, as actor Hugh Bonneville also confirmed in a radio interview. Paul King, the screenwriter and director of the two predecessors, announced on this occasion that he would no longer be directly involved on the set and would instead take on the role of producer. Those involved are still silent about further information on Paddington 3, but King at least shared that with the end of the current script, there was still plenty of room for further sequels. Either way, we are excited and we look forward to hearing more news about Paddington 3. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was packed with nasty villains, led of course by Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. After Part 2 has been announced for a long time, rumors about a new villain appearing in the sequel have begun to pile up lately. The site Murphy's Multiverse reports that Dr. Jonathan Onn, better known as The Spot, will become one of Miles Morales' adversaries. Fans may already be familiar with The Spot from the comics or from the new Spider-Man series, but it is a nice idea indeed to introduce a new villain outside of the animated series from the 90s. The scientist Spot made a first comic book appearance back in 1984, where he was researching ways and means to multiply Cloak's superpowers. After a change of dimension, his body was suddenly covered with many black dots that he could enlarge or shrink at will to use as portals. After discovering his mighty superpower, he finally decided to live as a villain and fought the likes of Spider-Man and Daredevil. Currently, it is difficult to tell how true the rumors about the Spot's appearance in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 are, but we will keep you up to date as always.